So we're going to move on and do part 2 of this wonderful interview with Morris Eugene Bryant. Now, Morris, I wanted to ask you a little bit about when you were making pure art and kind of comparing it to when you were making art for somebody else, for graphic design. And do you see a difference between the two in your mind? And another way, I guess, is some people find doing art that's pure to be more fun than when they're doing art for somebody else.
Yeah.
And then I've also heard other people, though, say that they're inspired by doing art for another person. It gets them out of their usual creative mode. So for you personally, do you see a separation between the two or any benefits between pure art versus art for somebody else?
I have to think about this one. I mean, because you asked for my opinion.
We'll just sit and talk
no
amongst
right
ourselves for a minute while Morris is...
No, there's no right or wrong, but my opinion is, I think I would say feels better with a deadline.
It's so you like having a deadline.
I like having a deadline because it gets me off my high horse.
Okay.
It gets me off my high horse because I'm doodling every day. I'm doing something every day. I'm not doing a piece, but I'm doing something. So now we're putting a deadline on it where I'm doing something I love to do anyway.
Okay.
And I'm just making it for a client.
So it makes you not overthink it so much.
No. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So unless they have like a lot of specifics, because that can slow down a project, right? Like, you know, they might say something like, I want you to draw the city of Maryland, like the landscape. I mean, the deadline for that would have to be like March or April, right? But I think, all right, so this is another part. So let's say they wanted a acrylic painting of the landscape of Maryland. Now that's going to take me out of my comfort zone, but it's going to be an innovative project for me. It's going to be innovative, it's going to be challenging, and it's going to take me to the next level if they love it.
Okay.
And I can take a picture of it, and then I can put it on
I like the
my
positive
portfolio.
thinking. It's good to be a little scared.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
But yes, I guess I answered that question. It really helps.
You did.
I like that. I like deadlines.
Good for you. Because I don't. Just being honest with you.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
But you know what? You're probably right. So maybe I need to think about this.
But now I'm talking about this because I don't have a client that's with a fine art. I have a graphic design project I'm doing for someone, but that's like a snap of a finger because I do that more religiously now than I do with fine art. And I guess that's another can.
No, well, we're going to get into something similar about that in a minute. Yeah. So, do you feel that you're able to inject yourself into art projects that aren't even, like, for example, you showed us the logo earlier. Do you find that you can still inject pieces of yourself into that, or is it kind of impersonal to you?
The first part, putting it. I love curves. I love curvature, so I definitely incorporate circles, scripts. What do you call it? Flourishes. Yeah. Things like that into my art as much as I can, and I guess it depends on the industry of what I'm doing it for or the person. But yeah, I always put myself into it with some good music. Yeah. With some good music.
What is good music, by the way? That's a great question to bring up.
Good music for me. I'm from New York, so I have I'm not from the Caribbean, but I have a Caribbean influence around me. So I don't know. It's just the band, like hearing horns and guitars and this type of sound that you hear from the Caribbean. And it just puts me in that comfort zone.
Cool.
And
is there any music that's definitely not good for you?
No, not really. As long as something is on. As long as something is on. I can't. It slows me down if I have nothing on because then my mind goes astray.
Okay. So that's another one of those left brain, right brain kind of things where if you're thinking about it too much, it starts getting in your head.
Yes.
But if you're distracted by music, it's more free and loose.
Yes. Good music, definitely. Yeah. I'm not sure if that's an artist. I don't know. If I interviewed an artist, they probably would say they have something in their ears.
Yeah. I like classical music when I'm doing something that I'm doing something very minute. I find it calming. But if I'm trying to loosen up a little bit, I usually put on jazz.
There you go.
Personally.
Yeah. Those sounds, I don't know. It's just I don't know what the name of it is, but it's a flow.
Yeah, I was thinking the same word.
It's a flow, and
it is very flowing, and it keeps you from being overly jerky with what you're doing. It keeps you going instead of lots of stops and starts.
Yes. Yeah. I think when you start out a project, I could have that kind of music on until they come back and they give you things you need to change.
Right.
Then you might have to turn the volume down low and really focus on what they're doing, or take it off and look back. But one thing I have captured is taking the earphones off, or when you're done with the project, just go and look back at it.
Right.
Make sure that everything is tight.
Right.
Proportion. There's balance. Everything is professionally. The guidelines are there.
Right. So that's a good lesson, I think, for any artist to learn, is to make sure you overlook it a few times first before you go and hand it out.
Yeah. Walk away.
Yeah. Give it a fresh break.
Oh man, I love that kind of advice.
Yeah. And again, it's something that I'm not always good at. So I'd like to move a little bit into both the challenge and the blessings of having a family and trying to create art. Yeah. Do you think that it's beneficial to have a family where it influences you and helps you to make your art, or is it a little bit of a distraction to have a family?
Well, first and foremost, I have to praise this guy right here, because he used what he has, and he made it a grind. So he has a family. He gave birth. He has a son, and that means he has to find extra money, and that right there is something that I've always captured and honored about you, because that's what my uncle that I told you about. That's what he does right now, and he's making hundreds and his stuff is in art galleries and things like that. I'm similar to you.
Wow.
And he's making extra money, and then for Christmas he bought like a big plasma screen TV. So that right there was something that influenced me. So the good about it is, it makes you think, okay, let me get on the grind and let me make this extra money. It takes you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
The other side of it is just a sidebar, that I have a son that's Down syndrome. So that means more care. I need to support. My wife and I, we have to support each other, because you have to have more attention on this child. With that being said, yes, there's not a lot of free time there, but you have to make it.
Yeah.
Squeezing
it in
every single day. I swear, my son is 5 years old.
Right.
Every single day I have a to-do list.
Right.
Of draw, and how many days do I draw? Like once a week.
Yeah, when you can really sit down and knock it out.
Yeah, and
let me say this, by the way. Both of our sons are right now in bed, so we have to wait until later at night to do this video.
Yeah. All that stuff. And even art. You have to wait until... Now, you have to... Okay, so you have a son, but you also have a wife.
Yeah.
That means you have to spend quality time with her.
Yeah.
And then you have to get some sleep. You have to clean up. You have to do the dishes. So I guess, to make a long story short, you have to find, like, my time in the morning, like my time frame in the morning is getting up at 4 o'clock. Only because my son I would used to do the night feedings.
Okay.
So I've never changed that
used
day.
To it.
So I do my Bible study first, then I have I'll do Bible study, then pray, then I'll have time to draw, then I got to go to work. So anytime in between that, or when I get home, family time, wife time, and then if I got some time to draw something.
So it sounds like being organized is really the way to be able to be an artist and a family man, and also providing for your family.
Right. Now that goes back to your question before in regards to, if having a deadline. Yeah. So if I have a deadline, I have to fit this time in.
Yeah.
I have to put the work in. If I don't, that is not good. You're not professional.
Right.
You're not a man or a woman that's taking care of business.
Sure.
So that's not business. So that's why I said again, I was blessed with a gift, and God has given me a gift. He put clients in place so I can use my gift and utilize it,
right,
and maximize it and show it to the world. And thank God for clients so I can get the deadline and make it happen.
So it's a symbiotic relationship between the artist and the people that are ordering art or asking you to make art. Without that, it can really stagnate.
Yes, yes. I did have a huge hiatus when my son was born, and I was out of art. I didn't even do art for 2-3 years, but now I do have time. I get home at a reasonable time.
Good.
And my pay is lower than the previous job. That means what I'm gonna do? That means I have to get on the grind
to make that money
back. Do some side work.
That's right.
That I love to do and make it profitable.
But I think you seem happier anyway, just on a personal level.
And it handshakes because you get paid for it. It's your side job, but you can make it a licensed business.
Yeah.
So that can be your side job, and then that can increase, and then maybe your 9 to 5. Right. So this is all.
And this is a subject we can get into also, because I found that it really helps to. It helps you to get into a whole other career when you really embrace art. But that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, there's people that have done it, and
right. Now, I wanted to ask if you can show some of your personal portraits that you've done of people. Would you mind showing...
personal portraits that I've done of people at this current moment? I didn't bring my other sketchbook, but this is some archives.
Yeah, is there anything that you're allowed to show? I don't want to have you show something that people are not comfortable seeing.
Okay, so...
Or
this here... Okay, well, I have a few. Let's see, where's the other one?
And by the way, if you are looking to order something through Morris and his company, like I said in the first video, I'm going to put a link on this so that you can contact Morris. And obviously, you can also contact me, and I'd be happy to get you guys in touch with one another. He is a fantastic artist on multiple levels, so I strongly suggest taking me up on the suggestion of reaching out to Morris. Help him make some money. It is worth spending it. But go ahead.
Help me enjoy the love that I have. I really say it's really not about the money. I feel I'm a true artist. I'm not boosting my ego, but you don't even feel the money. Like, it comes. Yeah. When you do something you love to do, it just comes. It just handshakes. That's just the alignment of the universe.
It does. It also goes quickly.
Yeah, that too. That too.
Go ahead.
Here's one of me and my brother that I have. And the most this is some archive, but I have updated ones on my Facebook page.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And this one here was for a couple that I did. This was watercolor and ink.
It's cool. And I like the looseness of style that you know there too, because Morris can be very, very precise and lifelike, and he also knows when to kind of go off that a little bit and inject a little bit of style, which I think is fantastic. Yeah. Do you usually take commissions and ask them what kind of style that they're looking to do, or do you kind of give them several different choices?
That's a good question. They look at my work and they'll say, I want my work like that.
Okay.
Or they'll say, oh, okay, you see how you did those colors there? They'll do it that way.
Okay, so having a lot of good examples of what you feel comfortable with is a great way to start.
Exactly. So my medium is pencil mostly. So I also do watercolor and color pencil.
Right.
But if they say I want the picture like you did for your father-in-law, that was a pencil, all pencil. So that's what.
That's wonderful. And because that also leads me to my last question here. When it comes to commercial art, because you have to think in a slightly different way when you are working with customers, has it changed the way that you view art overall, or has it confirmed anything that you've felt about art?
Wow. I would say it got better. I mean, I can be an old, I can have an old soul and say no, the old art is better, and it's, it should stay pencil and pen and no, but I think that it's getting better. Why? Because when you look at advertisements, they put graphics in, and it has structure, it's moving, and it does all these creative things, and now it's 3D. It's just gotten better.
So you see it as more tools in the toolbox as opposed to losing old tools.
1,000%. Just a sidebar. I just went to a class to refresh on in Photoshop, and there was a picture, like you would see in like a hotel, but it was a painting. It was a like any paintings that you will see in a hotel. And she told me that there's a guy who would do it in Photoshop, and he charges thousands of dollars.
Well, either way, it's good for me. Yeah.
I was about to. What I was thinking to myself, if I was thinking the old-fashioned way, I'm like, that's not right. It's not right, because, he's charging 4 digits for something he did in Photoshop. Like, that's not art. Art is when you actually get a paintbrush, but no, there's filters and there's effects in Photoshop that people actually do that. And I spoke to another lady at another place that says she does that. I don't want to put any judgment attached to it, but I could say that that's what they're doing, and it's working for them. Would I do it? I would not do it. I would do it straight old school, but if that's the way it works for them, it works for them. And hey.
Well, that's great. And so, I mean, those are the main questions I had to ask. But I just wanted to ask you, do you have anything that you'd like to add as kind of a final statement that you'd like people out there to know about you and just to know about art in general?
What they could know about me is I've taken art to the next level in the field of advertising now. I have 2 parts of my type of art now. So I do designs, for people, but I've also taken it where I can make it advertising. So, and I also deliver a message. So it's get right designs, and then you have get right apparel. So I've created a clothing line before, but this was a vision I had about 5 years ago to create an apparel. And people are simple now. People like to wear sweatpants and hoodies a lot now. So, it's very cheap, efficient. All you have to do is just put the screen on there, put your artwork, and there you go. So that's
He has a bit of the salesman in him, doesn't he?
Well, I've been through this before, and I think it's time for the gift that God gave me to put it out there. Like, don't put it under the rug. Just put it out there. And that's also a message that's in the Bible, and it's so true. Now, last thing I would say is any young artists that are out there, I would encourage that if you have a graphic design class, I think you need to take fine arts first. There's nothing wrong with learning about fine arts and studying art. Art, 101 is something always good to know. Nothing wrong with going straight. Nothing wrong with coming out of high school or going to junior high and high school and going into Photoshop, illustrating these applications. But it's always good to know about the fundamentals, like the color wheel, perspectives. Any other ones you can think of?
Well, even this kind of historical, calligraphy. There's all kinds of things that you can add. Taking what's been learned in the past and being able to apply it to what we're doing today. Even if you don't use it in the final work, it's still that influence.
Yes.
Is I think what you're trying to say.
Yes.
And I think that's beautiful advice. And so I want to thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. In fact, I might ask you to come back because I would love to talk about clothing and style too, because I think that's ignored sometimes when it comes to the arts. But anyway, if you have questions for me or for Morris, please feel free to send us questions through message. You can also leave comments on the YouTube page and all that. And I also want to remind you again that he has his website, and I'm going to put a link to it so that you can order fine work from him. And I also remind you that liking the videos here and also subscribing helps me to continue to do this and share more and more people with you. So please do the free thing, like it and subscribe. Have a great day, everybody, and make sure you continue to art smart. Bye-bye.